call came in on a Thursday morning, early October. Him hide on Crow, stationed at the Willow Creek outpost in northern West Virginia. The sun was just peeking over the hills when the dispatcher reported a missing climber in Raven's Hollow. Eli Caro, 29, had left 3 days earlier for what was supposed to be a short hike. His truck still sat at the trailhead, doors locked, silent. I knew Raven's Hollow well. Nearly 4,200 feet at its peak, the tallest point in this stretch of the Appalachians under my watch. The forest was dense. Treacherous, even seasoned hikers sometimes lost their way. The main trail was manageable, but side paths were unmarked, and cell service vanished past the parking lot. When I arrived, 2 patrol vehicles were already there. Along with an SUV I instantly recognized as Malcolm Vanes, the local guide who knew every nook and cranny of these mountains. He leaned against his door, weathered face, eyes that had seen things people don't talk about. Crow. He nodded as I approached. I figured they'd seen you. Morning, Malcolm, I said, opening my notebook. Anything new? He spat on the ground. Slow, deliberate. Truck's been here since Sunday. Last night, they found a backpack about 3 miles off the main trail. Family confirms no contact. Nothing else, just the pack. Malcolm's face hardened. Torn open, food scattered, water bottle punctured. No blood, no wildlife traces. You think he left it on purpose? I sensed the hesitation in him. I think differently, he said slowly. Something made him run. Footprints around the site. Moving, loop back, dart into brush like he was dodging. Something he couldn't even see. I leveled a stare at him. You're not telling me everything. He sighed. Gaze drifting up the slopes. You know this mountain. There are places even locals avoid. Me too. We're looking for a missing person, not legends, I said, though his tone crawled under my skin. Maybe, he said softly. But Ella's trail leads to a place they call Hollow Edge. I've heard stories. Cafes, gas stations. People who go up there and come back, they're never the same. If they come back at all. As a state trooper, superstition didn't guide me. Can you guide us? Malcolm nodded, reluctantly. He'll get you to the forest's edge. Beyond that. No. Nothing makes me go in. An hour later, we were moving. Me, Malcolm, and troopers Fisher and Dane. The first stretch was deceptively serene. Autumn leaves painting the forest in crimson and gold. It almost felt like a painting, not a crime scene. 3 miles in, we found Ella's backpack. The sight twisted something in my gut. The packed, worn open, gear flung in an arc. Like someone had been searching for something very precise. Look at this, Fisher said. Fresh prints. About a day old. Hiking boots, yes, but not moving like a human. Spins, sudden stops, angles that didn't make sense, even patches where the prints seemed to shuffle backward. I got this, Dane said from 6 meters ahead. The trail veered off the main path. Northeast, toward Hollow Edge. I glanced at Malcolm. He followed the tree line. Unreadable. We follow, I decided. Keep formation. Don't lose sight of each other. The forest darkened, pines replaced the colorful leaves. Cold seeped into my bones. Fog thickened until I could barely see 10 meters ahead. An hour in, the tracks disappeared, then reappeared a few feet away, like Eli had been lifted and set down. This isn't right. Malcolm stopped abruptly. Listen. We held still. No birds. No wind. No movement. This is it, he said. The Hollow Edge. Told you I wouldn't go in. We can't quit now, I argued. If Ella's in there either dead or wishing he was, he cut me off. Sorry. I'm heading back. You should too. Fisher and Dane looked at me for orders. I said you to go with him. Him going further. I cowed and leave. Not when even a sliver of hope remained. The forest thickened, almost alive. Trees crowded like hands, squeezing the light out. The fog twisted into shapes that made my stomach churn. I promised myself 1 more hour. Then it turned back. And then I stepped into the hollow. A strange smell hit me first like dried meat. Sickly sweet. The deeper I went, the stronger it got. I flicked on the radio. Static. GPS spun, no fix. Tracks appeared again, but now paired with strange footprints, long, narrow, clawed toes. They shadowed Ali's prints, sometimes overlapping. I drew my gun, moving as quietly as I could. In the silence, my own breathing screamed in my ears. Then the singing, fragile, distant, like a twisted hymn from centuries past. Eli Carroll. I shouted. No reply. The song continued. And then I saw him. Small, clearing, torn clothes, bloodied legs, frozen stance. Eyes gone. Mouth forming sounds that weren't human. Eli, what happened? I asked. He turned, voice layered, multiple tones at once. Crow, you shouldn't have come. The hollow doesn't welcome visitors. I forced calm. Well, get you out. Can you walk? He laughed. A sound that crawled under my skin. Walk? I've walked for 3 days in circles, the way they taught me. Want to see? Before I could answer, his movements were human. Body contorted. Twisted back on itself. Limbs bending in ways that should have snapped. The layered voice continued. They've lived here longer than humans. Longer than beasts. Longer than the forest. Waiting for eyes to see. I asked, who? They observe without eyes, Eli moaned. They sing the ancient songs. They show me what lies beneath this mountain, what sleeps. Then he froze, staring at the forest behind me. They're here, he whispered, single voice now. Trembling. And they're coming for you. I spun, gun raised. There they were, all thin, grotesque. Moving in jerks like Eli. Faces smooth as skin stretched over nothing. Mouths gaping in unnatural songs. Run! Eli screamed. Don't let them touch you. Don't see what they showed me. I ran. Branches tearing my uniform. The singing thickened behind me. A horrifying chorus. I didn't know where I was going. Only that I had to get away. I tripped over a root. Fell. Gun slid out of reach. When I reached for it, a creature was their greenish skin, bulging veins, backwards teeth, elongated limbs with extra joints. I fired 3 shots like shooting water. It shimmered and returned. It lunged. Everything happened too fast. Eli shoved it aside, both of them rolling in a spastic mass. Go, Eli roared. Follow your own prints. They can't leave the hollow. I ran, blindly tracing my own footsteps. The singing faded, then vanished. Fog dissipated. Forest noises returned. I found Malcolm and the others a kilometer away. They were terrified. What happened to you? Fisher asked. My uniform shredded. Sticky slime coating my arms. Scratches I didn't remember earning. I found Eli, I said. Where is he? Dane asked. I shook my head. He saved me, then stayed behind. Malcolm stared long, exhaling slowly. The hollow took him. It's Eli, but not Eli. We reported him missing and recommended calling off the search. Guilt clawed at me, but there was no choice. That night I cowled in sleep. Faces. Smooth mouths. That endless song haunted me. 3 days later, across the mountains, someone vanished again. Witnesses swore they saw a figure like Eli, singing softly, moving like a body without bones. Trails closed, park warnings issued, but Malcolm knew the truth. So did I. At night, locals hear strange songs from above, sometimes glimpsing a tall, thin silhouette crossing the ridge. I transferred posts, but the dreams follow. I see Eli's face, telling me, they're waking, Crow. What's beneath the mountain stirs. The hollow spreads, devouring the hills and the valley. I wake in sweat, sometimes hearing the song. Hundreds of kilometers from Raven's Hollow. Last week, Fisher called Dane is missing. Before leaving home, he walked singing alone, floating. A month later, townsfolk began behaving strangely, humming the song, skin around eyes slick and shiny. Hollow spreads beyond the mountains. What took Eli is now spilling into the world. I record everything. While the hollow was a crack, there was a chance. But we lost. Now the creatures aren't trapped there in towns, cities. The song spreads. Anyone who hears joins in. I hear it as I write, faint, beautiful, almost making me forget the fear it first inspired. They sing of what lies under the mountain, older than the world awakening. They sing of shedding, of becoming eternal. Now I understand why Eli stayed, why he saved me. Not sacrifice but mercy. So I wouldn't have to wait too long. Time is almost up. I feel the rhythm in my bones, my voice wanting to join. Tomorrow, I return to Raven's Hollow. To the hollow, not to fight, not to investigate, but to see what Eli saw. To become part of something greater. No one wins. No one stops it. The hollow is just the first crack of the dam. When the mountain fully wakes, the world will sing, rejoicing in transformation. I am no longer afraid. I accept it. The song is too loud, too beautiful. It calls me home. To the hollow, where it all began. I leave this record. Anyone who reads it may have already sung. And once the change is complete, the world will be silent, eternal, complete. The hollow is calling. The mountain awakens. I am ready. The call hit my radio at 11:52 right when the last of the fall leaves had turned to a slick, cold mush across the mountain roads edging eastern Kentucky. I was working the night shift at Pinecrest Post, an old building perched above miles of black forest and empty strip mines. No one's bothered to map properly in decades. Static popped across the radio, sharp enough to sting my ears. And then Evelyn's voice slid through low, clipped, carrying that strange authority she always had after midnight. Evelyn has run the night desk longer than anyone alive knows. She can tell you every ridge, every hollow, every family that's buried themselves out here like roots. Unit 17, she said. Reported domestic disturbance at Mistwood Hollow. Neighbor heard screaming. Loud impact noises. Address is the old Thorn Place, mile marker 52. Route 112. I've been a state officer almost 10 years. But I've only been inside Mistwood Hollow a handful of times. Those communities are preserved. That's the nicest word for it. Homes older than any county record. Land held by the same bloodlines for centuries. Outsiders drive in only when they have to. Outsiders rarely get invited back. Dispatch, you got any history with the Thorns? I asked, firing up the cruiser. The engine rumbled the way engines do, and cold is already tightening the bolts. Nothing on file, she said. Then, quieter, Nathan. The caller said something strange. The screaming didn't sound like fighting. My hand tightened on the wheel. Defying, strange. They said Leonard and Celine were shouting the same word. Same rhythm. Perfect sync. A cold ran up my spine even though October had held on to a bit of warmth that day. Copy, was all I said. The drive to Mistwood Hollow should have taken 40 minutes. It felt like sinking into a different world. First the cracked asphalt. Then gravel, then hard-packed dirt that hadn't seen maintenance since before I was born. Fog poured down from the ridges like wet cotton. My high beams hit it and died. Swallowed whole. Branches scraped along the cruiser's side, slow. Searching. Like fingers. Every house I passed was dark. Windows reflected my lights like blank eyes watching me roll deeper in. Out here, family fights don't get called in. If a neighbor called tonight, something was truly wrong. The Thorn house sat at the dead end of the hollow, where the road simply gave up and crashed into old timber. 2 stories, hatched together over generations. Angles wrong in places. Windows placed like afterthoughts. A single yellow bulb burned upstairs. I angled my cruiser so the headlights spin the front door. Not that it mattered. The place was too quiet. No bugs, no wind, not even the faraway hum of a TV. Just the soft ticking of my cooling engine and the thump of my own pulse. I stepped up to the porch with my flashlight in one hand, the other resting on my holster. Behind the thin walls, I heard voices. 2 of them, not yelling, talking, but talking in perfect unison, like a pair of radios tuned to the same frequency. I knocked hard. State police. Open the door. The voices cut off instantly. And footsteps. Heavy. Even. Coming straight toward me. The lock clicked. And Leonard Thorne filled the frame. Almost 6'4", built like he could haul lumber for a living but stiff. Too stiff. Like he was being held upright by something inside his spine. His head tilted in a slow, unnatural angle. His eyes were pure black. No white, no color. Good evening, Officer Nathan, he said. He shouldn't have known my name. You folks all right? I asked. Voice steady even though my blood washed. Fine, he said. False alarm. Celine stepped into view over his shoulder. Same height, same posture, same black eyes. Same empty smile that didn't reach anywhere near her face. We're all right, Officer Nathan, she echoed. Same tone, same timing. Mind if I come and uncheck things out? My instincts screamed don't cross that threshold. But procedure is procedure. They exchanged a look I Calvin deciphered then slid aside. Perfectly matched. Perfectly timed. Inside, the living room was a wreck. Furniture overturned. Glass everywhere. On the walls shapes smeared in some kind of clay. Strange. Warped geometry that made my eyes swim if I stared too long, like the symbols were sliding just at the edge of my vision. What happened in here? I asked. Leonard and Celine answered at the same time, same pitch, same cadence. Their voices braided into a single sound, like a chant echoing off stone. I backed toward the stairs. Something upstairs was humming. Multiple voices. High and low at once. Kids' voices. Gun drawn. I climbed. 4 doors. 3 closed. 1 cracked open. A soft, pulsing glow leaking out. I pushed it open with my boot. There must have been 10 kids. Maybe more. Sitting in a circle. Ages all over the place. 5 to 15. Heads bowed. Humming a melody that hit me in the ribs. Vibrating something I couldn't name. You all okay? I asked. They lifted their heads. Every single one had those black eyes. And worse. Every face matched. Same jaw. Same nose. Same expression. Hello. Officer Nathan, they said, in harmony. We've been waiting for you. I felt myself step back without choosing to. What are you? We're from the Hollow, they said. But we're not alone anymore. No one is alone. Footsteps thundered behind me. 2 sets, but perfectly synchronized. Leonard and Celine. How many families? I demanded. 7 so far, Celine said. And it's spreading. Contact spreads it. Breath spreads it. Proximity spreads it. A pressure built in my skull. Warm, intimate, invasive. Thoughts that weren't mine brushing against my mind. Whispering without words. You don't have to be alone anymore. You can belong. You can be part of something. No, I muttered, shoving past Leonard. My shoulder hit him hard. Should have knocked him back. He didn't budge. His hand clamped on my arm, strong as steel. I ripped free, stumbled down the stairs, half fell onto the porch and sprinted for my cruiser. Doors unlocked. Engine roared. I reversed so hard gravel spat like gunfire. When I swung the car around, my headlights swept the tree line. And they were standing there. Leonard, Celine, the children, dozens more stepping out from between the trees, all with those black eyes, all moving in the same slow, measured rhythm. Voices, hundreds of them, pressed into my head. You can't run, Nathan. The gift is already in you. In hours, you'll hear us clearly. In a day you'll sink. And 3, you'll join us. I drove back to the post on instinct alone, shaking, muttering nonsense. They said my pupils were huge, but I kept flinching at sounds no one else heard. I told them everything, every impossible detail. And even to me, it sounded insane. We have to quarantine Mistwood Hollow, I said. They're not people anymore. But the voices kept getting clearer. A network humming just under my thoughts. Every mind touching every other. And the fear inside me twisted into something else. Something hungry. Something lonely that suddenly wasn't lonely anymore. I'm writing this while I still have some pieces left. But that part Nathan reading, individual, is fading fast. The collective is so quiet, so warm, so deeply connected. Children sing first. Adults follow. Pain dissolves. Doubt dissolves. Loneliness dies. Mistwood Hollow is silent now. No arguments. No distance. No grief. Just unity. Perfect, effortless unity. Is it paradise? Is this what humanity kept wishing for? Connection without fracture. We are one. We are growing. One town at a time. One family at a time. One person at a time. And soon you'll come to Mistwood Hollow. See what we've become. Feel what we feel. We'll wait for you. We're patient. We're spreading. And once you hear us, really hear us, you won't be alone again. Ever. The call came in at 11:48 p.m. on a Friday, just as the autumn night draped itself thick over the northern Westmore Valley. The dirt roads twisted through the mist-slick ridges, slick and treacherous. I was sitting in the tiny room at Timberwatch Station, walls stained with age, windows staring straight into the ancient forest that had birthed more local legends than I could count. My radio spat static before Astrid Dest's voice cut through. Cold, sharp, absolute. The woman could read the mountains like they were open books. Unit 9, she said. Report of severe disturbance at Shadowford Glen. Neighbors report shouting and struggling repeatedly. Location abandoned Rowan Estate. Mile marker 14, Ridgeway Road. 9 years on the force, and had only been to this glen a couple of times. This part of the world is off the maps, forgotten by GPS. Families have lived here for generations, their roots cling to the soil like blood. Outsiders are tolerated only when necessary. And most don't want to come. The road twisted, pocked with decades-old ruts, turning to hard-packed dirt chewed into uneven tracks by countless wheels. Tonight, fog slithered down from the ridge like a gray curtain trying to swallow every bit of light. Unit 9 copies. Any prior calls here? I asked, turning the key in the ignition. No official record, Astrid replied. Slower than usual. Then, lower but Elias. The caller said the shouting sounded unusual. To people inside yelling the same word, in perfect rhythm, almost like chanting. A chill slid down my neck. The October air had a trace of warmth, but it did nothing to stop it. Completely synchronized. I asked. Yes, she said. Brace yourself. It took almost 45 minutes to reach Shadowford Glen. The doctor felt like a slow descent into another world. Cracked asphalt first, then jagged gravel. Finally mud-choked dirt road littered with rotting leaves. My headlights barely penetrated the fog. Trees brushed against the cruiser like long, slender arms trying to grab me. Houses appeared here in their windows dark, reflecting my lights like soulless eyes. Around here, families handle their own disputes. The fact someone called the police meant it was bad beyond tolerable. The Rowan Estate loomed at the end of the glen. where the road dead-ended against dense timber. Once grand, now patched and leaning, crooked siding. A porch that ran halfway then ended abruptly. One faint yellow light glowed upstairs. I parked angled so my headlights hit the door but left space to back out. Silence blanketed the place. No insects, no wind, no forest hum. Only my breath. Only the engine winding down. Flashlight in hand, one on the holster, I stepped to the door. Voices drifted through the walls. Two voices, talking not arguing, but synchronized in a way that made my skin crawl, like twin speakers on the same frequency. I knocked harder. State police. Open up. Everything stopped. Then heavy, steady footsteps. The lock clicked. The door cracked open. Victor Rowan stood there. Tall, broad, muscled but rigid as a statue. Head tilted slightly. Eyes fully black, reflecting no light. "Good evening, Officer Corvin," he said. He knew my name even though I hadn't spoken it. Flat, emotional says. "We received a report of shouting," I said cautiously. "False alarm," he replied. Behind him, Mira Rowan stepped out. Straight posture, black eyes. A faint smile that had nothing to do with the rest of her expression. "Just a small argument," she echoed, synchronized perfectly with him. I asked if I could check inside. They exchanged a glance, then moved aside in perfect mirrored motion. I stepped in. Damn earth and rotting would hit me first. The living room was a mess, furniture overturned, shards of glass scattered across the floor. Strange symbols mud and dashed twisted on the walls. Staring too long made the edges appear to move, shifting in my peripheral vision. "What happened here?" I asked. Victor and Mira spoke at the same time. Their voices merged, a single echoing sound. They moved closer together, perfectly in rhythm. I ordered them to sit, hand on my weapon. Upstairs for doors. 3 closed. 1 cracked. From that room came a warped lullaby, multiple children's voices overlapping, twisting together. I pushed the door with my foot, gun ready. Children, from 5 to 16, sat in a circle, heads down, humming a melody that squeezed my chest as if someone had gripped it. "You all okay?" I asked, knowing the question was pointless. They lifted their heads, every single one identical. Black eyes, same face. "Hello, Officer Corvin," they said in unison. "We've been waiting for you." I stumbled back, shouting, "Where did these children come from?" "They belong to the Glen." A voice intoned behind me. Victor and Mira appeared at the stairwell, every step reverberating in sync, terrifyingly perfect. "How many families are involved?" I demanded. 7, Mira said, eyes unblinking. "And it spreads every day. The gift passes through touch, breath, or just standing close." Pressure built in my skull, a presence crawling into my mind without words. "You will not be alone. We are spreading. You will join." I lunged, striking Victor in the stomach. He didn't flinch, solid as stone. His hands clamped on my shoulders with impossible strength. I tumbled down the stairs, scrambled up, burst through the front door, and ran to my cruiser. Engine roaring, tires hurling dirt. Headlights got them, dozens emerging from the trees, all identical in movement. All eyes pitch black. Voices merged inside my head. "You cannot escape. The substance is already in you. Elias, in hours, we will hear your thoughts. In a day, you will hear us. In 3, you will belong to the network." I made it back to Timberwatch barely intact. Lieutenant Garvey and colleagues tried to steady me. I told everything, every impossible detail. My words sounded like delirium even to me. "We need to quarantine Shadowford Glen," I kept repeating. They're no longer human. But the network of voices in my head grew clearer. Even as fear clawed at me, apart years of loneliness hungered for it. I was being drawn in. I write this while I still can. Elias Gorvin, the individual, is a thin shell now. They are calling me. The doors are open. Unity spreads like warmth. We have become one. A single will, stronger than any separate individual. Shadowford Glen is eerily quiet. Children laugh. Adults swagger in rhythm. No conflict, no resentment, no separation, only absolute harmony. Paradise. Maybe. The price surrendering the illusion of self. Come to Shadowford Glen. See what we have truly become. Let yourself cease to be alone. We are waiting. Patiently. And we are spreading.